Put my arm around, show you how strong I am. I put my arm around, I'll show you that I am. I'm unstoppable. I'm a Porsche with no brakes. I'm invincible. I win every single game. I'm so powerful. I don't need batteries.
Hello, everyone. We are the matriarchs of fandom, and we're going to have a little discussion today. I have Miss Gray, Lady Gray, joining us today. Patricia joining us today, and we're just going to have a small show about some movies. I would like to talk about movies that did not do well in the theater, and it kind of got revised, renewed when it came to either on DVD or streaming service. So I've listed a couple of movies here, and I would just like to talk about that. If do you think it was a flop? Maybe a reason why that it was a flop. Did you enjoy the movie? Did you see the movie in the theaters or did you see it at home? Let's see. And another question, when you hear that it's a flop, are you basing it on what other people say? Are you reading it? Are you watching the previews, the trailers on TV? Or are you, hey, look, I want to see this and I'm going to go to the movies and see this, or I'm just going to watch it when it comes out? So the first movie that I would like to mention is Jason Bourne, The Bourne Identity, that actually came out in 2002. To this date, there's been 5 movies, and by chance, I think on Netflix, The Continental, which is not really I'm sorry, that's John Wick. Sorry, got all messed up, confused here. Jason Bourne came out in 2002 and has 5 movies. Now, I personally did not know anything about Jason Bourne until it came on TV. I don't remember watching any previews on it. I don't remember when it came on TV. This is just on the movies. This is just what I'm Googling up there. So, did any of y'all watch it at the movies? Did you watch it when it came on video? Did you stream it? Do you know anything about the Jason Bourne sagas? Miss Gray.
I think I saw the first one on streaming. Didn't see any of them at the movies, and I think I've just seen the first one, and I wasn't all that impressed with it. I don't know. It just seemed more shoot 'em up, kill 'em up was not a real strong storyline, but maybe you have to watch the rest of them to get the storyline. I don't know. It didn't do a whole lot for me.
Okay. Would you consider maybe rewatching it now? Because it's 5 movies.
I mean, winter's coming. There's not a lot on TV, so maybe.
True that. Okay, Patricia, what about you?
I might have seen the first movie, but other than that, it wasn't that memorable for me.
Okay. I've seen all 5 of the movies. I thought they were pretty good. Why I didn't go to the movies to see it, I have no clue. And I'm the kind of person I see about 2 to 3 movies a week. Not necessarily back then in 2002, but I have really no reason why or memory why I didn't watch it at the movies. Okay, next movie I would like to mention is the one that I mentioned earlier, which is John Wick. John Wick, actually, there's been 4 movies, and what I misspoken a few moments ago, The Continental, that just came out now. I think they just finished their 3rd episode. For me, John Wick is another movie that I did not see it when it came out. I think my husband was watching it one day. I walked by, saw Keanu Reeves, thought it was very interesting, and watched it all. I'm not sure how much money it made, but for what I remember, and it looks like it came out in 2014. I don't remember people really talking about it until it started came on TV. What are y'all opinions on this movie, John Wick? Lady Gray?
I saw the first one and I actually liked it, and we bought yeah, like they'll have one Apple TV. You know, you can get the bundle where you get like buy one and you get the sequel for free. So we've got like the first two, but I never watched the second one, and I have no reason why I haven't watched the second one. Um, Other than I tend to prefer comedies more than shoot 'em up type movies.
Hmm.
I mean, not stupid comedies, but you know, I don't know. I I have no reason why I hadn't watched the second one. Again, winter's coming. We might get around to watching it.
Okay. It looks like we have up that I cannot read that. Oh, it looks like it made $86 million when it
Hmm.
first came out, which back then, 86 is, good, but from what I understand, you have to make at least three times for movies considered not a flop. So I'm not sure how much it costs to make, but I don't know. It's one of my favorite movies now. I have all of them on video, and I enjoy it. What about you, Patricia? Have you seen John Wick?
Have not seen it yet. I'll have to see if I can find one and watch it.
Okay, yeah, I suggest watching them in order.
Okay.
Because there's a little bit what they, there's kind of a meaning behind the first one, and a little emotion there. So, let's see. John Wick has grossed worldwide, according to Lionsgate 2014, $87 million, and an estimate budget of 20 to $30 million. Okay,
So that's pretty good.
so that's pretty good. It was still one of those, for me, movies that I didn't know anything about until it came on video. So maybe it was just me. Another movie I would like to mention is Rocky Horror Picture Show. That came out in 1975. Um, oh, hello, Mr. Cat. And I don't remember when it came out in 75. I was just like about 3 years old. But years later, my parents took me to see it. And considering they say that this movie was a flop. Now, every Halloween, I do my best by going to the theaters where they're, throwing out the cards and dressing up. It's a musical. It's about an hour and a half. Have a little sexual aspect to it. Meatloaf is in it. And Meatloaf was really big in the 70s. But a lot of people didn't go and see it now back then, and it just came out now. And they have the plays. You can see the shows. I think it's interesting. I even have a shirt of Rocky Horror. It's just a great show. Um, Lady Gray, did you see that back then or now? And would you consider that movie a flop?
Um, I was about 3 years old as well when it first came out. um, and oddly enough, considering over the years I've known quite a few people who've actually acted in the play over like the Nero or whatever. I've never actually seen it in person. I have seen it on
Really?
the TV, at Halloween. And it is good. I love watching it, but it just by the time I was old enough to actually go see it, I was too busy doing like the mom thing,
Mhm.
and I just have never made it over there since then. I know it's a good show. I know some of the people involved, so I know it's got to be a good show.
Watching it on TV is not the same by
And that's what everybody says.
you know, it's an experience, you know. Don't bring your young child or grandkids to see it. But
No.
you know, it says, look, Rocky Horror became one of the top grossing movie musicals ever. And it's wow. You know, Mark and I was thinking about going to see it at the Narvo this year again. And I know there's a story that I kind of heard a little bit about Tim Curry that, you know, he did such an amazing job, so to speak, in that movie that he could not find work afterwards because they based his character on him. And when he was trying to get other movie gigs, they just saw that movie and said, no, 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 no. So that's kind of sad that, you know, that kind of happened to his career. But if you've seen it, you will kind of understand, especially for it to be done in 75, probably why it was a flop. I think you kind of have to have an open mind to see that movie. Patricia, what about you in Rocky Horror?
I've got it somewhere in DVD. It's good. And there's also a European version that's different than the American version.
How
So
different?
they show more than the American version does.
Okay. So, you know, definitely rated R.
Yeah.
Okay. Another movie that I would like to mention is It's a Wonderful Life. That came out in 1946. Now, I just recently, in the last couple of years, have seen this movie. I don't know why I never really cared to see it. Mark watch it every season, and I've never actually sat down to watch it until probably about 4 or 5 years ago. They consider that movie a flop. And now every year at Christmas time, American Movie Classic, TNT, they play it for like 24 hours. And this 2 hour movie, I think, if I recall, I think it was in black and white, you know, with 46 and, you know, I don't know, but I thought it was a good movie. And it's kind of a shame that a movie that they show year after year after year now, you know, back then it was a flop. And I have to admit, I just started watching it myself and plan on watching it again this holiday season. Lady Gray, what do you think about that? Would you, from what you remember of the movie from back then, did you watch it as a child? Did you watch it, you know, later on? Tell me about that movie.
I never watched it as a child. We never watched too many movies as a child. My dad was more into football, and so at the holidays, if there was a football game on, we were watching football. Um, so I didn't watch a lot of the classic movies until I got older. I have seen It's a Wonderful Life, and I thought it was a good movie. I don't quite see what all the hype is about. Why you want to watch it every year? But I mean, you know, if it's on, I'll watch it. But I'm not going to go seek it out and go, oh, I got to watch it or my Christmas isn't complete. I'd much rather see like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. To me, that's more Christmassy than It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay. Patricia, what about you?
It's a good movie. I guess I saw that its budget was 3.18 million and it made 3.3 million in the box office. So
Okay. All right. Another movie that I am sad to say that I've never seen. My husband and my kids will probably fuss at me over it. And I think a lot of people consider it a Halloween movie. Hocus Pocus. When that movie came out, Free Willy came out that same year, which was in 1993. Apparently, all the parents was taking their kids to see Free Willy instead of seeing Hocus Pocus, and they consider it flop. Now, part two, I do know came out last year. I need to make sure I watch it this year. I just never got around to watching it last year when part two came out. But I've seen costumes on this movie. My husband and my kids. Oh, we got Lady Gray got something from it and her shirt. But because of Free Willy, they consider Hocus Pocus a flop. Do you agree or disagree with that, Miss Gray? Says it looks like you're a big fan of it.
I love this. This is one of my favorite movies. I will watch it 2 or 3 times at Halloween. I I know why I think it was considered a flop because you're not in too much of a Halloween mood until like the beginning of October. So they had such a short season when people were really in the mood to go watch it. Because by the time you get to the end of October, then everybody's thinking Christmas. Nobody wants to see a movie about witches. So they just had such a narrow window to make it a hit that if Free Willy came in there and bumped them, they didn't have a chance.
Mhm.
Now I think considering, I mean, I know how much I paid for that Hocus Pocus bag, and I've got a couple others. Uh, they've more than made their money back.
Awesome, awesome. Patricia, what do you think about Hocus Pocus?
My girls and I would watch it every Halloween, so it's a staple. It's fun, it's campy.
Okay. Another movie that I know I've seen, but and a lot of these movies, ladies, I'm just talking about movies from back then. I know there's movies that they consider a flop now, but I just want to see if any of these older movies that people have seen versus some of the newer movies out. A good reason for that is just because of the cost of movies nowadays. With COVID that came out, so that's why some of these movies I'm mentioning is just older movies instead of
Makes
new
sense.
movies, because we can't talk about movies going to the movies now as we could have probably did 3 years ago. Even though I'm still going more as ever, just because I just don't have a life, but you know it's nowhere near like it used to be. And I think some of these movies could be considered a flop because they're not making as much money as a lot of these directors, producers think it should. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Not necessarily because it's not a good movie. It's just, I personally don't think a lot of people's going to the movies like they used to. I see the difference from me going to the movies now than 3 years ago when you had to wait in line and you had to get there 30 minutes to an hour early. Now I pull it on my phone while I'm in the parking lot, pick my seat, and I'm in the theater 5 minutes later. So even though they're considering it a flop, I think it's just because it's a money thing. Another movie that I am mentioning is The Thing. The Thing came out in 1982. There's been two movies. The original movie came out in 1938, and it was actually called The Thing from Another World. But the 82 version, they're considering that it didn't make a lot of money. I don't remember if I went to the movies and seen it. I probably didn't because I'm not really big on horror. But I know now a lot of rewards considering The Thing as one of the best horror movies ever. Lady Gray, have you seen The Thing, and do you think it was a flop?
I don't even recall this movie. I thought you were talking about the Blob at first, and then I realized you were talking about the Thing. So that would be a no.
Oh, I'm trying to remember who is in the thing. I see his face. Oh, God, it's gonna come back to me. The main character. Oh my goodness, he was in the trailer movie, Overboard. He was in the thing. Kurt
Kurt
Russell.
Russell.
Thank you, Kurt
Oh,
Russell.
okay.
He was the main character in the thing, and it was kind of scary, special effects, but for 1982, I think oh, look, there's Kurt Russell now.
Yep.
The special effects, I think it was what it was. Patricia, what did you think about the thing? Have you seen it?
Have not seen it.
No, you mean there's a horror movie that I've seen that you two ladies haven't seen? Okay, well, all right. Well, let's move on. I'll pick something that's not horror. The Wizard of Oz, 1939. I Please don't shoot me. I don't like The Wizard of Oz. I think the monkeys are kind of scary. I do have to admit, for me, the best thing about the movie, of course, when it was black and white and when it went to color, and probably for the first 30 seconds of the song. After that, I'm done. I don't want to see anything. But for whatever reason, The Wizard of Oz was a flop when it originally came out. That's another movie that comes on every year. It comes on. Oh, look, Judy Garland, of course, that song Over the Rainbow. That's just a beautiful song, even though if you don't like the movie. Lady Gray, would you consider that movie a flop back then? And if not, why?
That's what I've read, that it was a flop, that it was just so far ahead of its time that a lot of people didn't get it. Um, I don't know that I would consider it a flop considering how long a run it's had, but at the time, I guess it would be considered a flop. Um, I don't know. The Wicked Witch was always my favorite character. She was the most interesting. So I
Okay.
don't know. I
Okay.
like it. I'll watch it, but
Yeah. Yeah. If it's on TV, will I turn
yeah.
to it? Maybe if there's nothing else on. But Patricia, would you consider that movie a flop? And would you watch it now?
It probably was a flop back then. If I watch it now, there's something else that I like better. I probably would watch what I wanted over that.
Okay. And it's kind of sad considering that it's a classic. Oh, and apparently it's been cursed. Considering it's a classic, it looks like the three of us, yeah, we'll watch it. Yes, no. It's not something that we see is on TV and, oh my goodness, I'm going to watch it. Look like the team leader, SW team leader, says that his mom watched it every time it comes on and it burnt me out. Yeah, yeah. And then some movies can do that when you watch it over and over and over again. And this movie comes on every year. A Christmas Story that came out in 1983. It's another movie that my husband and my kids love. It was considered a flop. It's another holiday movie that comes on one day out of the year, all day long, 24 hours. Um, I don't really care for that movie. I've probably have seen it. It's a little bit of a comedy. I'm not really a comedy girl, but it seems like some of these movies, and A Christmas Story is one of them, that once it just came on TV, people started watching it over and over again. And even though it was a flop, which they considered a flop when it first came out, because of, I guess, the holiday theme and watching it 24 hours, it just came that it turned into a movie classic. Miss Gray, what do you think about A Christmas Story?
I mean, it's one of my husband's favorites, so we'll usually watch it at least once a year. Um, I'm kind of meh on it. Um, I like the leg lamp. I think the leg lamp is funny. Otherwise, I'm just kind of, eh, it's okay.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. I agree. I agree. Oh, Marky Mark. He has a Red Ryder BB gun. My daughter Sally bought him that for Christmas a couple years ago. Patricia, what about you? What do you think of that movie?
It's okay. Nothing that I'd watch if there was something else I could pull up.
Okay. Okay. Another movie that I love and they consider it a flop. And considering the people that was in the movie, it was kind of funny. Is 1985 Clue. I've seen that movie probably just as much that I've seen Star Wars, Star Trek. You know, it's on my laptop. It's, you know, if I'm traveling, going in a car ride, I'm watching it. I probably have a good 10 versions of just the game itself. I love Clue. And we had a lot of really famous people in there. And they consider it a flop when it came out. When it they have three endings. So I know when you went to the movies, you wasn't sure on which ending that you was gonna see because it was such a hush hush on it. Yeah, I can recite the movie right now, honestly. But considering Richard Moll was in it, and another movie with Rocky Horror Guy in it, there were just so many big Leslie Ann Warren in it comic. It was a flop. Would you consider it a flop, Miss Gray?
This is another one of my favorites. I'm kind of like you. If it's on TV, I'm going to sit down and watch it. I've got it. It's on it's on my iTunes movies that I bought. So yeah, like if I'm traveling, like you said, it's one that I'll pull up
Mm-hmm.
and watch. I love this movie. I never could figure out why it flopped. I did go see it at the movie theater and I enjoyed it. I don't remember which ending we had though. Um, but I never understood why it was a flop because to me it's just an awesome movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Patricia, what about you? Clue.
I've played the game. I think I've seen the movie once or twice, and that's about it. It's a funny movie. It's campy, cheesy.
Yes. Yes. 100% cheesy, but it's just a really feel good movie. You watch it, I just laugh and laugh and laugh. It's funny, and I agree with Miss Gray. If it was on right now, and I saw that it was on, I 100% would turn to it and watch it and just laugh. Yeah, one plus two plus two plus one. Yeah, that's just iconic, you know.
Yep.
Um, Another movie that it's for me is a oldie but goodie, and actually for whatever reason flop, at least according to the information I found on Google, is The Princess Bride. That came out in '87. I don't know why they would consider that movie a flop. A love story, comic, you know, sword fighting. What more can you have in the movie? You know, Robin Wright pen or Robin Wright back and then it's just a feel good. And once again, it's another movie that I would turn to see it. You know, I have it on Blu-ray. I don't think I have it on my tablet, but it's a great movie. But it flopped. Miss Gray, why do you think they consider this movie a flop? And do you love this movie?
Inconceivable. That is what another one of my favorites.
Mhm.
Like you said about Clue, I think I could go through this and recite the lines, you know, right along with it. It's one of my favorites. Another one on my iTunes I bought list,
Mhm.
so I could watch it anytime. Um, yeah, I mean, like you said, what more could you want? You've got pirates and sword fighting and a
Mhm.
love story, and it's just you got a little bit of humor in there. I mean, it's just I love it.
Yeah, yeah, but it was a flop, they say.
Yeah.
you know, which is weird. You know, it was a standalone movie, which I know we've done a show before that needed just to leave it alone. You don't need to go back and change it, you
Definitely.
know, and it was good, but it was a flop, they say. Patricia, what do you think about The Princess Bride?
It's a good movie. I'd watch it again. It's got everything from poison to sword fighting to romance, people stealing
Yeah.
the bride and everything. It's good. Princess Buttercup.
Yeah. It's sad. It's sad. I think that's all the movies I'm gonna do for tonight. It just seems like the movies that I've mentioned, y'all have also that we've talked about. Maybe it's just how they think about the movie. Maybe it's just they're looking at money wise. All these movies that I mentioned, I would consider them the flop. Even the ones that I really haven't even seen, I wouldn't consider it the flop. But maybe it was just the time it came out. The meaning behind the movie, with like Rocky Horror, the what they were implying. I don't know, I know now 2023 a lot of people have streaming services, and I think that sometimes that can go through of why they consider it a certain movie a flop, especially if it's coming to the movies, maybe the same day that it's on a streaming service, a week later. That's still going back to what I said earlier, where I think a lot of people is just not going to the movies as much as they used to. If you know the movie's going to come out on stars in the 30 days, why am I going to go spend $18 and see it in the movie theater? And because I think they're not making as much money with that being in mind, could be a reason why at least movies now are considered a flop. Back then, money was different. And I think some of the movies I mentioned was in the 40s, in the 70s. Maybe people just didn't have the money to go, and could be another reason why they consider some of these movies a flop. I would like for Miss Gray to just mention one movie that you have seen recently that you think was a flop and why.
Oh, one movie that I saw recently that was a
Recently, we're
flop.
going to go into 2023, 2022.
Okay, I'm gonna go back. Um, so I don't know if it's gonna end up being a flop or not, but there was one 65 million, I think it was called.
Okay.
I enjoyed it, but I don't think it didn't seem to stay at the theaters that long, and I didn't hear a lot about it. So I don't, considering it had Adam Driver in it, I don't think it did as well as they had hoped it would. So I don't know, but I I hope it's not a flop, but I think maybe it will be, unfortunately. Yeah.
I think I went to the movies and saw that too. And I agree. I thought that was a really good movie. I don't remember seeing a lot of airplay when it comes to showing it on TV. So that could be a movie where, they made it, and because they didn't get a lot of the advertisement, that why it didn't do as well as I think it probably should. I
It
thought it
was
was
very
really
poorly advertised.
yes.
It was. Well, and even the posters didn't have any like a face on it. It was just like 65 on the posters,
Mhm.
and when I put it on to watch, my husband was like, "What is this about?" It just says 65, and I had to explain to it because the poster said nothing.
Mhm. And I don't even really remember too many TV advertisement
No.
of that. I'm almost positive the first time I saw that, yeah, there it is right there, 65. And that came out earlier this year.
Yeah.
That it was because I went to the movies to see another movie and I saw the trailer.
Yeah.
and thought it was really, really good. I didn't buy this one on video, but I would definitely consider watching it again when it, just because.
Yeah.
Okay. Patricia, I know at one of our other podcasts, you've said you haven't been to a movie in a hot minute, but can you think of a movie maybe you've seen in the past that it was a flop, and if you agree or disagree with it?
The remake of Dune, I think, might not have gone over well. I liked it. I don't think it was a flop, but the special effects and everything. And the only other one I know about would be Jurassic Park World Domination. I heard that they didn't live up to anybody's expectations. It wasn't about the dinosaurs. It was about a swarm of large locusts. So,
well, I was always a big fan of Dune. I think Dune came out in '84. And I want to say there were 2 TV series of Dune. My dad has actually read all the books, and that's kind of what first introduced me to Dune. I think there's like 2 versions of the original Dune, which I think the first version was like a little bit over 2 hours, and the other special effects, the director's cut, was over 3 hours long. This last Dune, I thought it was pretty good, and was a little disappointed that it's been moved until March for the second one. I think originally it was supposed to be released in December. And I think Frank Herbert, I believe,
yes,
wrote those books, if I recall. And I know there's a lot of those books. So I thought it was pretty good. I don't know if I think they kind of considered it a little bit of a flop, but I just think Dune is the kind of movie that not everybody will be willing to see. I think you just have to be the right kind of person to wanting to go and see it.
yeah,
And and I think that's how his son will start writing those books. Yes, his son took over because he's been dead for a hot minute now, Mr. Herbert. So I thought that was a pretty good story, and I can't wait for the next one to come out. All right, ladies. I think that's all I have for today. I do appreciate everyone joining, Miss Gray, Patricia. Our next show is going to be in about 2 weeks before the holiday come up. We're going to have a couple more podcasts. I was thinking about in 2 weeks, maybe do a show on cheesy movies.
yes.
We actually mentioned a couple of them tonight.
Yeah.
So that's what I would like to talk about. Looks like it's going to be on October 19th, same time at about 8:30. And everyone have a safe 2 weeks, and I'll see you then. Thank you for joining, everyone.
Please subscribe and hit that notification bell, and thanks.